Welcome, everyone. I hope everybody had plenty to eat. There is more food over there if you want. But thank you for coming tonight. Tonight we're here for a couple of reasons. First, to celebrate the teams that won their divisions for the states this year. So congratulations to the boys soccer team, the golf team, basketball, and wrestling. Thank you very much. Congratulations, guys. Tonight for our speaker, we have, well, we're lucky to have Becca Pizzi, who is from Belmont, and she manages Moosey's Ice Cream over on Trapella Road. And I don't know if any of you saw the news today. They had a little bit of a fire this morning before they opened, so she's had a busy day, and I'm very, very glad that she could make it. So thank you, Becca. I've known Becca for a little over a decade, but Becca's claim to fame is as a runner, and I think what most people will find interesting about her is she won the World Marathon Challenge 2 years in a row in the women's division. The World Marathon Challenge is 7 marathons in 7 days on 7 different continents. So I can't imagine doing one. You'll see when she comes up there, she's a little hobbled, but didn't stop her from running the Boston Marathon a month ago. So, what is it, 22nd? 22nd time finishing the Boston Marathon. So, Becca has a great story to tell, and as you guys wrap up your high school careers and head into college or whatever you're going to do next, hopefully you can find some inspiration from Becca's speech. So, with that, Becca Pizzi.
I'm so excited to be here. I love to tell my story. My daughter's 18 years old. She's graduating this year from Belmont High School. And I love questions at the end. If there's anything that you're thinking about, please ask. So I love the ultimate test of endurance and strength. I love to travel. I love to run. I was raised by a Marine. Is anybody raised by a Marine here? You're so lucky. Maybe you. What it was like to grow up in my household. I was a freshman in high school and I ran a 4:47 mile. I broke the record it was a 15-year record, and I was feeling excited. I won the race and I got in the car and my dad said, "Your lap 2 was a little sloppy." And I'm like, oh my God, enough. I got out of the car and I walked home and I was so mad. But I owe so much of my running career to my father, who's just my hero, and he's always been there for me. And he's been tough on me, but that's why I have world records. And I ran the 7 marathons, 7 continents in 7 days, and I feel like I won that because I was the most resilient. I was not the fastest runner there, but I was the most resilient, and I never ever gave up. And I ran it the first time, and then Tom Brady's company reached out and they said, "We know how to train you, and we can run you and do pliability with us, and we can get you to run the 777 faster, we'll pay for you." And I got to work out with Tom Brady and Gronk, and it was awesome, and I learned so much. And it was, when they flew to the finish line, and I remember I called Dave McGilvery, he's the race director of the Boston Marathon. I said, "I got myself in trouble. I have Tom Brady's help. I cannot play second." And he said, "Pressure." I said, "I feel like he said, "Well, what are your thoughts?" I said, "I have a lot of pressure." And he said, "Pressure is a privilege." And that kind of stuck with me. I said, how lucky am I to have Tom Brady's help, and they're going to pay this $50,000 race entry fee, and I get to do what I love to do. But it was incredible. I crossed the finish line, and I broke the record, and it was an incredible journey. And I run a marathon in all the 50 states, so again, I love records, and I have the record for that. Then I got invited to the North Pole Marathon, and I had been thinking about this race for 7 years, because I thought, when I'm mentally ready for this, I'll go and I'll race it, and I have to win it. I have so much pressure, and so running at the North Pole Marathon, you have to have a pretty big resume, and I thought, okay, I've done the 50 states, I've done the 7 continents, I've done all the things, and so when they accepted my application, I was like really excited, but like really scared, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do everything I can, do my homework, do everything I can to go and train. And so the temperature was negative 30 degrees, and I would go down to a beach because the terrain was much like running on a beach, except for it was really, really cold. So I knew that if I could just get there, and and the competition was definitely stacked, and I was like, it's a lot of ultra marathoners who have a lot of grind and grit, and they know how to figure it out, and I'm not really in the ultra marathon world. I like to stop at 26.2, but I did it, and I have it on video, and I was lucky enough to travel with my husband, who's my manager, and he's on the last lap, he's like, you have a 7-minute lead, do not mess this up. And I'm like, okay, that's not like that, you got this, you can do it. I'm like, oh, and then I was like, that was really mean when you said to me in the last lap, and he's like, I knew how much it meant to you, and it was wild. It was like being in a National Geographic movie. There were 100 polar bears, and there were polar bear guards, and of course, like, nobody got hurt, nothing, because that would be devastating, but we saw over 100 polar bears, and it was awesome. It was an incredible experience. Before I show you that video, it's been hell this spring. I was pacing, 8 weeks ago, I was pacing my friend in a 100-mile race in Alabama, and I hit a rock, and I fell, and I fractured my hip, I slipped a disc in my back, and I tore the hamstring off the bone. So I was in Alabama, and they said, you've got to go to the hospital. I'm like, no way, I'm going home to Boston, and I think I know everything, and I don't know anything. So I was so hurt, I missed my flight coming home, and so I flew home, and I got on the next flight that was 7 hours later, and I flew home and went from Logan Airport to Mass General, and it's been 8 weeks of rehab, and my dad just said, just stay patient, just keep showing up, you're gonna get through it, it's gonna be awful, and of course, like, it's, and I'm at the National Running Center in Spalding, and I've like just made the most of it, I show up, and some days are really hard, and some days are better than others, but I do what I can, and mostly, it's, you just gotta be so grateful for the help that you have around you, and don't be afraid to ask for help, and they gave me a sports psychologist to work with, because running, I'm a professional athlete, and that's been my world. I'm working out 20 hours per week, and it's okay to ask for help, and that's helped me tremendously. And then this morning, the fire department called at 4:21 a.m., and I'm like, I dropped off 20 pizzas to them 2 days ago. I'm like, I don't think they're thanking me at this hour for the pizzas. So I'm like, hi, and they said, your store's on fire. And I'm like, oh my God. Of course, my whole life's like a dumpster fire right now. So I go down to Louis's, and I'm hoping that it's not so bad. And it was that bad. It was already burnt to the ground. And I was just watching all the firefighters come in and just like take care of it. And it's been awful, but and Mr. Buckley called me and said, do you want me to find somebody to come in tonight for you? We'll talk to you. And I said, no, what am I gonna do, sit at home and cry? So I feel lucky to be here, and the whole thing went up in flames within 6 minutes. So like, thank God the store was closed, and I keep looking for the positives in this world. So I'll show the North Pole video, and That's me. That's me. Anybody want to run it? Oftentimes people say, what was your favorite marathon? Because I've done the 50 states, I've run like 150 marathons. I have two favorite marathons. In the 50th state was Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And doing the 50 states is a little bit like a puzzle. You're like, how do you get going? And then you do your favorites, you do like Vegas, and then you do like other ones. And then it came down to like choosing the final three. And so I figured, all right, Jackson Hole, Wyoming seems the best out of like West Virginia and another state. And so they gave me bib number 50, and it was an incredible journey. I crossed the finish line, I won the race, and I had my dad and my husband holding the finish line tape, and I ran through with my daughter by my side, and that was like my absolute favorite. My second one, Zdeno Chara, do you guys know who he is? Show your hands. All right, he's a professional hockey player. He's just inducted into the Hall of Fame. He played for the Bruins forever. And he called me, and he said his name. I'm Zdeno Chara, and I'm such an idiot. I'm like, oh, that sounds familiar. And my dad's like, he's the hockey captain. Like he was the hockey for 20 years, and I'm like, yeah, what's up? How can I help you? And he's like, I want to run a marathon. And I'm like, you want to run the Boston Marathon? And he's like, yeah. And training him was so much fun, but it was very intense. Like, I thought I was intense. He would send me a text, and 4 minutes later, some like question marks. Did you get my text? I'm like, yeah, I'm working 14 jobs right now on top of my own training. I'll get to you when I get to you, And it was really fun training the entire Boston Marathon. And then he said, will you run the Boston Marathon with me? And I had never run the Boston Marathon with anybody except myself. So I was like, of course, I'll help you. That would be really fun for me and for you. And we ran for Team Hoyt, the father and son duo team, and who had cerebral palsy. And it was like a personal parade for him. It was everybody was wearing his jersey from like different teams and different years, and he crossed the finish line, and he was like so excited, and all the towns just went absolutely nuts for him. So that was really fun, and we've been really good friends ever since. And the next marathon I took him to Texas because I was racing that. I'm like, well, you can come with me to Texas, and he's like, where are all my fans? You know, and I was like, we're in Texas, you're not loved here like you are in Boston. So that was really fun. And so when I fell down and I got injured, I'm really injured. I have crutches in the car. And so I called Z and I said, what should I do here? Do you think it would be crazy if I ran the Boston Marathon? And he had played hockey in the playoffs with a broken jaw, so I knew that he would give me the answer. And he said, I think it'd be crazy if you didn't. And so I'm like, I'm in, I'm doing it. So I crossed the finish line, and I was in a ton of pain, but it was important to me that I had 21 consecutive years, and I need to get to 34 to have that record. So I was like, I'm just gonna try it. And so it was, you know, you rely on so much on the people that you help, that help you back. So it's been pretty awesome. Anybody gonna run the Boston Marathon someday? I think so. Anybody already run it? Yeah, nice. So, you know, that's like the story, and you know, you learn to just be brave and keep showing up no matter what, even when life gets you down. Just, you know, I tell every day I go through my daughter, and she hates it, but I said, what went well today? And she'll say, oh, and we learn a lot from each other at that time. What went well today? And she'll tell me, oh, I did this or this, and I said, what do we need to work on? What wasn't good about today? And then it's her saying it out loud that helps. And we work on those things, but you know, she's heading to UNH. She was deciding between UMass, which was my favorite for her, and UNH and Merrimack, and UNH she's going to be going to because it has the best nursing program, so it's going to be good for her. How many seniors in the group? Oh my God. Enjoy it, and ask for help, and don't be afraid to lean on each other, and if I can support you in any way, shape, or form, my email's beckapz@yahoo.com. I can totally be there for you if anything you guys need. What else? Any questions you guys have?
How did you get started?
How I got started, so we're 7 generations living in Belmont, my family, and so there was a Baybank 5-mile race when I was 6 years old, and my dad was like, yeah, come run with this with me. And people were like, that's abusive, like she's 6 years old. How is she? And I ran the whole thing, and I loved it. And I just loved, you know, and my dad was like, if you run in college, and I'll buy you a car, which means like, because I got a full scholarship, so he's like, I'll buy you a car. I'm like, you owe me 4 cars, now that I think of it. So, and so I just love where it's taken me in life, but running by my side with my dad when I was 6 years old, and I won the 18 and under category because years later I found out I was the only one in it. So, like, I was like, Dad, I knew I was good from the beginning because I won all that stuff at Baybank 5-miler, and he's like, you won because you were the only one in your category. And I'm like, you didn't have to tell me that. So, you know, and so I would go to races, and I'm like, oh, what's the record for the girls? And then they would tell me, and my dad's like, what's the boys' record? I'm like, oh my God, that's enough. So it was, you know, that's how I got my start. And my mom, they're high school sweethearts. My mom couldn't tell you a thing about running at all. I'll run the marathon in like 2:37, and she's like, you ran 3:37, right? I told all my friends. I'm like, no, I didn't. But now you're making me look. So, but you know, it's been that kind of life. And my daughter is a very fast sprinter. She doesn't run distance at all. She can't even like do 2 laps. And so she's like, Mom, it's really hot today. I'm like, shut up, your race is over in 11 seconds, I don't want to hear it. But I'm out there for hours, you know, and so I'm kind of tough on her too, but not the way my dad was at me. Yeah?
I'm curious, how did did you all go on that cruise, that ship
Oh yeah.
together?
Yeah, so I forgot to talk about that part. So we took a icebreaker ship, and it took us from Paris, and then we flew into Svalbard, and then it took us a week to get to the North Pole by an icebreaker ship. And we got out, and then we prepped the course, and we ran the marathon. We all had to have a life vest on. One runner fell through the ice and the polar bear guard just picked him up like a claw. And he was like, that was a big surprise. And I was like, you handled that a lot better than I would have. He had to be done with the race and couldn't finish, but I was like, you handled that a lot better than I would have. But I was like, oh my, and that was, it was 100 laps, and that was pretty early on, like, that was pretty early on. I'm like, oh my God, this is really, really dangerous. And running with the life vest was really scary too, but kind of like that stuff. Yeah.
You ran 7 marathons, 7 continents in 7 days, twice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if people understood that.
Yeah, so I ran the 7 marathons, 7 continents, 7 days, and I did it in 2016, and then I did it again in 2018. And you know, being the first American female was such an honor for my father, who was a Marine, to be able to wear USA stuff and represent our country. It really, really meant a lot to me to be able to give that back to my dad. But I love that race. We crossed 16 time zones and temperatures ranging. In Antarctica it was -20 to Africa it was 90 degrees, and trying to train through all those elements. You know, I used to go to Canada, Montreal to train for the cold weather, and then I bought a sauna and I would do sauna training in my home for the hotter conditions, and just being prepared for all of the elements was tough. But
What was your best time and what was your toughest?
3:32 was my best time in Dubai. In Antarctica is always the slowest, and that was like 3:47. Yeah.
Which one was your favorite continent?
My favorite continent will always be Antarctica. It's the most intimidating because it's cold and it's windy and it's -20 degrees. And you're running on ice. It's a glacier. So Antarctica is definitely the toughest conditions of all. But I feel very lucky. We take a military style plane that has like the seating that goes over your chest, and landing the glacier safely in Antarctica, it's awesome. It's really just takes your breath away. You're like, wow, I'm very, very lucky. But then you step off the plane and you're like, oh my God, I'm so cold. Like, oh, let's just get this over with. You can't even think straight. So, and you have to run head to toe covered and you know, so you don't get like sunburn. The sun is very strong. Yeah.
What influence did your mother have?
My poor mom is my biggest cheerleader, because she was a cheerleader in high school, and my dad was the football player, and she's always like, you can do it, and what are you doing again, and how many continents are there? Like, she doesn't understand, so she's really, really supportive and proud of me, and she was a teacher at Arlington High. Oh, what is her name? My mom has an eloquent memory. She'll remember that. She'll definitely remember. She remembers all her students. Yeah, she'll definitely. Yeah, she's been great. Aw, I'm gonna tell her. Yeah, she's been great. They're a good balance, my parents. Any other questions?
Thank you, Becca. I'm always so impressed with Becca, and I got to meet her 15 years ago, probably, or something like that. You know, not only is she this competitive athlete, but she was also a single mother while she was starting this all up and stuff. And that's, you know, managing an ice cream shop, being a single mother, and then starting to do all this long distance. Well, I guess you were always running, but you know, just really getting into the thick of things. So, like she said, perseverance. You know, as long as you can give an effort, keep going, keep showing up, and stuff like that. And that's a great lesson for us all, I think. So, congratulations, Becca. Thank you. I'd like to just introduce a few people and then just talk about the touchdown clip quick. the table to my right, we have Frank Doherty, who's a past president, Father Mark Bishop, who is, and I said, we have David Leone to my left, and Becca Pizzi. In the back of the room, we have a bunch of other members, past presidents and current board members, and sometimes just supporters. So, for those of you who don't know the Touchdown Club in Arlington, our motto is to promote the physical and social welfare of the youth of Arlington. Most of the time we wrap it around sports and things like that, but we do help with other things, and we're always looking for members. You know, back when I started coming in like the late 1900s, so I could spend a couple hours a month with my father, who was a member, and it just became a great event, and it was a great night out. You know, we have 8 meetings a year typically, and you know, we have dinner meetings or award ceremonies, and it's great to meet a bunch of people in town, support especially the youth programs and things like that in town. So if anybody's interested in becoming a member, our dues are $125 a year, and then it's usually $40 a night for dinner, but that's not mandatory, but it's a great opportunity to help us support people. So we do have applications at the back of the room if you're interested. Let's get down to the real reason why we're here tonight, is to celebrate your victories. With that, I'd like to invite Athletic Director, Mr. Bowler, up.
First, I want to thank the Touchdown Club for doing this every year. They're a great organization and support so many youth activities in Arlington, so thank you very much for all you do. I want to thank we have another great group of student athletes who've done a great job representing the school this year and during their career. So thank you for putting the time and effort into competing in your sports. I know it's a lot with school and everything going on, but it really makes a difference. It brings the community a lot of joy, so thank you for everything you do. I want to thank the parents for everything you've done to get your students here. I mean everything you've done driving them to games. It meant a lot, and that's why they're here tonight. Please, students, make sure you thank your parents. As you guys have a lot of great events coming up. Prom, graduation, going off to college. Tell your parents you love them. Tell them thank you for everything they did. They've been on your side your whole career, and my father turns 94 today. I'm lucky I get to live next door to him, and so just always tell your parents you love them and thank them for everything they've done for you. So first, I'm going to bring up wrestling coach Kevin Cummings. Wrestling won the sectional title for the 3rd straight year. Coach Cummings a couple weeks ago was inducted into the National Wrestling Coaches Hall of Fame. Program he started here, and it's one of the best programs around. So, Coach Cummings.
Thank you, John. First, I'd like to thank the Touchdown Club for your support for over the last 30 years, and also the athletic administration, John and Rich, and especially our athletic trainer, Sam, who's not here tonight. She's outstanding. In the last 30 years, probably the best trainer we've had. So I know she's going to be moving to Arizona. We're not going to have her anymore, and she's going to be missed. I'm really proud of this team that we had this year. It was a special year for us. We had to overcome a lot of different obstacles. Our JV team continued to dominate, winning its 3rd Belmont JV tournament with over 21 teams in it. Our varsity team finished 21-5. We won our 3rd sectional title. We had 11 out of 14 wrestlers with winning records. In the sectionals, we had 11 out of 14 wrestlers place in the top 5. We had 8 state qualifiers and 3 alternates, and we had 3 sectional champions. One of our sectional champions was Davi Dos Santos. If you could stand up, Davi. He's a 2-time sectional champion, and he has over 117 varsity wins. Next sectional champion was Dan Carrera, if you could stand up. Dan is a two-time sectional champion and has over 110 wins. And who's not here tonight is Daniel Carrera, Daniel, who is our very first four-time sectional champion, and he set a new school record with 137 varsity wins. So I'm really proud of what this team has accomplished. And we also started our very first Ostergren Middle School wrestling team, which is well overdue. If I could have the varsity members of this year's team come up and recognize, appreciate that. Thank you very much.
If we could ask you guys to come up and get a picture in front of the Touchdown Club. And back up, that'd be great.
Next, I want to bring up Coach Hirsch. Coach Hirsch is, I think he might be the only coach in Arlington history to win 3 league titles in 3 different sports. So, Coach Hirsch, our golf coach.
Thanks, John. First off, yeah, I'm really happy to be up here. An Arlington High grad myself, and recall the Touchdown Club from back in my days as a student athlete here. Yeah, blessed to be able to stand up here as the baseball coach one time, the football coach as well, and now I took time here with the golf team. Our golf team won the league title for what I think is the first time in a very long time, and taking over for somebody like Dr. Barrett. For those of you who knew Dr. Barrett, those are some big shoes to fill, and he's somebody who's been a continued supporter of ours, and he came down to see us in the individual state tournament. Of record of our season, we're 8-3, league champs, as I said, and some highlights were we had a member of our team, Owen Shade, finished second in the individual competition for individual champ, losing in a playoff to a member of Zavarian, and I know next year he's going to get him. Right, Owen? Right. Let's go. But real exciting for our team. And again, a lot of guys returning back and recognize our seniors, Aaron Vartanian, Ryan McKinney, and Adam and Bonnie. Wish you guys the best of luck. Really proud of what you were able to accomplish with us. And really just to be standing up here in front of all of you, you guys especially. I've said this many times when I've had the chance to stand up here. You're about to move on to other phases of your life, but never ever forget where you're from. You're from Arlington, Massachusetts, and you went to Arlington High School. Well, let me tell you something. That means something. Best of luck to all of you. Thank you very much. Could I have the applause?
Next, I'm going to bring up Coach Woods from the boys basketball team. Before Coach Woods, I was the basketball coach, and we won 3 titles in 11 years, and he's won 3 in 7 years, so he's beating me there. So, Coach Woods.
3 in the last 4 years, but I'd like to thank the Touchdown Club for putting on this event, supporting the athletic community throughout the years. I'd like to thank the AHS administration, specifically John Bowler, Rich Thornton, and Sam Jones for all their help facilitating this past season. I'd like to thank my fellow coaches, Mike Palladino, who's been with me for our 7 years, Matt Woods, who's been the JV coach for 6 years, and Steve Tadjian, who's in his first year as the freshman coach. I'd like to congratulate all the senior athletes on your time here at AHS. We had 3 seniors on our team, and they left an impact on the program that's going to be felt for future seasons. This season, the boys basketball team, we started in December with over 70 candidates trying out for teams. We found roles for almost 50 kids throughout the 3 levels. The boys varsity team was 14-2 in the Middle 6 League, including 12 straight wins from our 3rd game through our 14th game. A hard-fought win over Winchester in our last league game gave us a sole league title for the 3rd time in 4 years. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. But it was a great accomplishment by the team and well-deserved. I'd like to call up any varsity team members in attendance, our seniors, Simon Miller, Taj Chabra, Marco Boatwright, juniors Caden Hayes, amongst others, sophomore Theo Haglin, and freshman Jack Hurt. Come on, congratulations, boys.
Next up, we're going to boys soccer. Coach Lance is not here, but yeah, Coach Lance, I think he's been a coach for 25 years, 26 years. He's probably one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. He has the toughest job. I think he has 128 kids try out for soccer, which is unbelievable. Like, soccer's big in Arlington, but having 128 kids try out for a team, it's unbelievable. He does a great job year in and year out. The soccer team always one of the top teams in the Middlesex League. And again, they did have another great year this year. So members of the soccer team, can you please come up? Thank you again. I just want to thank the Touchdown Club. Also, like Kevin mentioned, Sam Jones has been awesome for us, the trainer. She got engaged, is moving out of state. We're definitely going to miss her, but I think she puts in so much time and effort, and I think everyone appreciates what she does. Also, our assistant AD, Rich Thornton, was named the AD at Littleton High School, so he's going to be moving on as well. And again, he's awesome, great person. We wish him the best. They'll both be here till the end of the year, but it's going to be two big losses for us, but we'll find some good replacements. But again, thanks Touchdown Club, and have a great night.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
Just getting me non-leagues early.
So the big award for tonight, the two big awards, we have this is the 81st Annual Frederick Ostergren Award. The Arlington High School keeps a trophy in the athletic department, or Mr. Bowler's car, depends on what time of day it is. So these two winners will be added to a growing list of past winners. All the past winners are listed on our website, so if you want to go and look at who won it back in the day, you want to, give your mother or father a hard time about who won it in their year and why they didn't, feel free, the list is there, you can get the name. The first winner is, in the male category, was a four-time varsity letterman on the football team, a captain, was three-time wrestling varsity letterman, 2 times captain in wrestling, and did a few other things, but one thing I was impressed with by both the winners tonight is they mentioned that both the winners tonight were very helpful in encouraging and supporting the younger members of the team, so that's great. So our male winner for this year is Brady Beckenhouse. We appreciate you being here, Brady, and heard that you've been in spring practice already and graduating, so congratulations. Our female winner this year is a 4-year varsity soccer player, captain her senior year, Most Improved Player Award in 10th grade, and the Unsung Hero Award in 12th. She also did 3 years of varsity track, indoor track, and was captain's junior and senior year. She also holds a very impressive record, outdoor track as well, so. Ella Radoslovich, are you here? I'd like to thank Peggy Metropolis for taking the pictures, helping out in so many ways this year. It's been a great addition. And the board members and past presidents that are here to support us, and even the ones that aren't here tonight. It's a great group to get involved with, so hopefully you'll want to join us for a future event. We usually meet on the second Thursday of every month, usually at the Knights of Columbus in Arlington. I'd like to thank you all for coming. Enjoy your evening. Congratulations to everyone.
ACMi productions are only made possible with your support. Visit patreon.com/ACMi to learn how you can help.